All right, I just want to say hello and how excited I am to be sharing with you today. It is a tremendous honor to be able to connect with you guys. I wish I was there in person. I hope to have a road trip soon this summer. I'm in the middle of going through a whole lot of transition in my life, and my house sold after 5 years of wanting it to sell, and I am moving this week. And so I'm not going to be able to actually physically be at the training, but I promise you my heart is there with you right now. I love y'all so much, and I am just thrilled to be a part of this. I know you're going to hear from Shad Helmstetter, Dr. Shad Helmstetter, who's one of my favorite human beings on the planet, and then Jennifer Harbour, who's one of my best friends in the whole world, and this was all put together by Janine, who is my soul sister. So I am so excited for you, and I know that you're in the right place at the right time, and that your cup will be full today. I talked to Janine, and she told me that she wanted me to share my story with you. I know a lot of you are new, or you haven't been in very long, and I just want you to know my story, to build some credibility with you, and to know that sometimes this business doesn't look like it's working when it's working. So don't quit. I joined Arbonne. It'll be 16 years in September. I signed up 3 days before the end of the month. So, I didn't sandbag, if y'all know what sandbagging is. I signed up, I think it was September 27th of 1997. I joke around and say that I was 12 when I signed up, but I wasn't. I was 22, almost 23 when I was introduced to Arbonne. The person who introduced me to it is Melanie Barkley. I did not know Melanie. Melanie had been in Arbonne for 4 years at that time, and she had struggled in the business. She had promoted to district and then area, and then she had lost her area because she didn't have a system in place and activity to follow for her team. And so she had gone area and fell back to district and was really struggling in her business. And so she did what we all do. She got on her knees and started praying over her business. And she had this idea to come to Tulsa and pass out sample packs. She just felt like she was supposed to do it. And she lived in Oklahoma City, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hour drive for her. So she got in the car and got a friend and came to Tulsa. And the building that I worked in, I was a receptionist at the time, working for 3 plastic surgeons, answering 5 phone lines, doing the medical billing, and I don't know. I was like the bottom of the totem pole, and there was all these other people, and then the doctors, and I was, the one that did all the grunt work. And she came in my office one day, and she was passing out these sample packs. And what I was thinking, sitting behind that desk, was, what is it that she does that she can be out and about in the middle of the day? Because I was stuck at this job. I had to be told when to go to work, when to go home, how long I had for lunch, where to park my car. I mean, really, just crazy. And I know some of you that work in corporate America are like, so? But for me, I wanted more. I wanted more freedom, and I wanted flexibility. And so I never liked to live the same day twice. I always wanted adventure. And so she came in my office, and she handed me this sample pack, and I remember she was shaking when she gave it to me, and I thought, I wonder if she had too much sugar at lunch, but she was nervous. And she was telling me about the products and how amazing they were. And then she said, and there's a tremendous business attached to these products, and you can make some great money at it. Now, at that time, I'm thinking, okay, what is it that she does that she has this flexibility and freedom? And then the other part of me is thinking, I don't do sales. I don't know anybody. I can't do this. So that, we all have it. We all have the positive thoughts and the negative thoughts. And I had the same thing right then and there at that moment. And where I sat in that office, I could see from where I sat on the other side of the room, I could see part of a window. Like there were all these partitions around the room, and all these other women that worked in the office with me, and we just had these little dividers, but I could see part of the window. And every day I wished that I was on the other side of that window having freedom in my life. And so when Melanie gave it to me, gave me that sample and told me about that, even though I was skeptical and even though I was resistant, I thought, you know what, I'm going to take this home. Now, it wasn't so important to me because It was a sample pack. It had some literature about the business. I liked her, but you know, was she a flaky person? Was she going to show back up in my life? Was she going to really call me? I didn't know. And so that sample pack ended up going into the back seat of my luxurious Honda Accord. And I really did think it was luxury because it had leather seats and a plastic stick-on dashboard that looked like wood, but it was plastic. Anyways, it was luxury to me. And Melanie got my phone number and she called me and followed up. And I said, that sample pack's in my Honda. I left it in the Honda. And she said, Stacy, you owe it to yourself to try these products. She said, get it on your skin, try it, and you've got to hear about this business. And then she proceeded to connect with me. And one of the things that you guys, those of you that are part of Mentorfish, have heard Keith Coatner say is that connection's more important than content. And I can honestly say Melanie connected with me so well. And she made me feel special. And she made me feel important, and she made me think that she really cared about me. I think she did, but she asked about my friendships, if, you know, how long I had this job, if I liked my job, my family, and she just connected. I thought, this lady wants to be my friend, and I wanted more friends, and I liked her. And so I think it took 3 or 4 phone calls before I actually tried the sample pack. And finally I did, and she had got me so excited, even though I was using the wrong skincare type at that time. We only had 2 skincare lines back then, but I was using the wrong one. But I still knew it was different. And so she bribed me to come to an opportunity meeting. And when I say bribed, she invited me to go, and I was going to go. And the night before, I got cold feet, and I was going to back out. And she said, listen, she said, I will give you what was basically $100 in product. Now, you guys, she had lost her area. Okay, she was a district manager. They did not have enough money for their month, if you know what I'm talking about. And she felt the tug to invest in her business and make the choice to give me some product to get me to come to an event. And that's why I went to that event. I went because she was giving me some free stuff. And as I sat there at that Discover Arbonne that night, I remember my heart was pounding out of my chest. And I remember thinking, you know, you can make a 6-figure income, you can work this part-time, you can get a Mercedes-Benz someday. You know, I wanted like everything it talked about, the time freedom and the flexibility and the healthy aspect of things. But y'all, I was a Walmart shopper. I mean, I bought everything at Walmart, my clothes, my skincare. I know, it was disgusting. But I did. And I remember one time I spilled what I was buying at Walmart on my vanity. And I ran to get a towel, and when I came back, it was a toner, and the toner had stripped my vanity. And this was before Arbonne, and I thought, I wonder if that's okay for my skin. I didn't even know this world existed, this Arbonne world, this health and wellness world really existed. So as I listened to that event that night, something was happening in my heart. And, you know, there's part of you that says, oh, I can never do this. Oh, you know, you don't know anybody. You can't do sales. You know, look at you. You're not healthy. You know, all these things. You're too young. You're too old. You're too whatever. And I had all those thoughts going through my head. But then there was another part of me that said, you know what? Somebody's going to be successful at this business. Somebody's going to go to the top. Why not me? And so I signed up, and back then we had no system in place. So you just bought one of everything in the catalog and then a bunch of samples. That's what you did. And then good luck. There was no get some friends together, have a launch. There was no call 4 friends and get some bookings. There was no game plan. And so since I was introduced to it through a sample pack, that's what I did. I sample packed everybody. And I went district qualification, and then the first 2 months I kind of fizzled out, and then I realized, okay, now I really want to do this. And so by the beginning of 1998, January 1998, I finished district in January by the skin of my teeth. And I had been in 4 months, I believe, then. And you guys, I want you to know, it doesn't matter how soon or how long it takes you to go district. It just matters that you decide to go. And then once you get district, decide to stay and take away the option to quit. And I will mention this story because it's kind of a funny story. The month that I went district, we had an opportunity meeting in Tulsa, and I had 8 confirmed guests that night. And there was a snowstorm that just happened to hit Tulsa, and we don't go too far or too fast when there's ice in Tulsa. And the night of the snowstorm, I went to the meeting. I made it there just fine, but not one of my 8 confirmed guests were there. And I went home that night, and I remember sitting on the back row, first of all, crying and like having my chin quiver because I wanted to cry. But then I got home, and I just bawled. I thought, I can't do this. People tell me no, and they don't show up, and I'm just not cut out for this. And I really wanted to just say, forget it, throw the towel in. But thankfully, I had heard enough. I had heard enough Arbonne training to know that if I quit, what that meant was that I was letting those people have my future. I was putting my future in their hands. And not one of those 8 people was going to pay for my mortgage payment or my retirement or help me when I had kids. None of that. And I thought, okay. So I gave Melanie I called Melanie that night and I gave her my 2-week notice because I didn't know how this business worked. And then the next morning I woke up and I called her back and I said, I'm not quitting. I'm taking away the option to quit. Y'all, I had been in for 4 months, but I got that. If you take away the option to quit, you are guaranteed to succeed. Just keep talking. Just keep staying plugged in. Get involved. Fine-tune your skills. I did not come into Arbonne knowing how to sponsor, knowing how to do a presentation, knowing how to close the sale, knowing how to connect with people, knowing how to talk on a video camera like this, and do it confidently. All these things were learned on my journey as I faced my fears. And so, anyways, I went district back in 1998. Jeez, some of y'all weren't even born yet, were you? I'm such a grown-up now, but I don't look like it. Anyways, I was in Arbonne, like I said, went district, and I very quickly got manageritis. And manageritis is this disease, this sick virus, I guess, that runs through Arbonne. And it can be VP-itis, it can be manageritis. But what happens is you're going to sit back and you're going to depend upon your team. And I can tell you, the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. So if you sit down, your team sits down. And that's what happened. I was actually on track for area without a system in place right after I went district. But because I depended on my team, I stayed a district manager for 4 years. 4 years. Actually 4.5. It's a long, long, long time when you're a district manager. It goes by fast as a nation. I don't know. But when you're a district, 4.5 years seems like forever. And that's what it felt like for me. But during those 4 years, I did some things right. I went to every opportunity meeting every month, with or without a guest. I listened to conference calls. I listened to opportunity calls. And I remember talking to people, and sometimes I would just start saying things, and it'd be the right things to say. And I thought, oh man, how did I learn this? And it was just from putting the right things in. So what I was doing, I was laying my foundation for my self-confidence and for my leadership skills in this business. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just hoping it would someday work and I'd find, the right person. And so that happened for 4 years. And my checks, some months were, $1,000, like twice. And some months were, $500. Some months they were $100. 1 month, this is a funny story, 1 month I didn't have very much volume. And this person who had signed up with a large order returned it. And my check was negative because they returned more product than I'd actually done in volume that month. And so I had a negative paycheck. I owed Arbonne money. Yeah, this is a lucrative business, right? And I was speaking that night at the opportunity meeting for my upline, who was at the time Regional Vice President Cindy Pipkin. She's now Executive National Vice President Cindy Pipkin. But I was speaking at her meeting, and I was supposed to talk about the unlimited income potential that Arbonne had. And y'all, when that check came and it was negative, I was so mad. And I was like, part of me wanted to doubt and wanted to have fear, I wanted to have unbelief. But the other part of me knew, no, this is my story. And someday you're going to hear me talk about this money and I'm really going to have it. But right now I'm doing it in faith. I'm going to tell you, it's true. I talked about the unlimited income potential, and here I am years later telling you I've made a 6-figure income from Arbonne now for almost 10 years. It's incredible. I wake up every morning thanking God that I faced my fear, that I got out of my comfort zone, that I made myself take action, that I held myself accountable, that I got out of my comfort zone. I think one of the best things I ever learned in this business is that the more uncomfortable you are, the bigger your paycheck will grow. Okay, so I'm just going to live outside my comfort zone because I like financial freedom. I like the flexibility of having a 6-figure income and being home with my kids and doing what I want to do in life. So Anyways, but all that being said, I want to fast forward just a little bit. I had those 4.5 years of laying that foundation. I went to the yearly global training conference. They were called management training seminars back then, and now they're the big GTC. But I went to those every year. And every year I was building my belief in myself, building my belief in Arbonne, and getting ideas. And my fourth one I went to was in Long Beach, California. Y'all, I had $30,000 in credit card debt from trying to renovate a house and flip it, which is not my calling. And I was pregnant with my first baby. He's now almost 11. And I was making $9 an hour at a corporate job. And I had been stuck at district. Well, I chose to be stuck at district for those 4 years. And my district checks were anywhere from $400 to $800 on average, about $600 a month. And I had built a strong district. I had a ton of people using the products, but I hadn't gotten bold in the opportunity, and I hadn't put my attention out there where I was going, which was to the top. And all this was about to change. So I go to GTC, which was in Long Beach, California. I stayed down the street from the hotel where the training was. I stayed in a motel. I packed food in my suitcase. I had to walk, to get to the training. I was having terrible morning sickness 24/7. And I remember going to a training, and this is a good story, I'm going to tell it to you. Going to a training, and as I went in, I realized I was late for the training. And so Cecilia was speaking. Cecilia Stoll was speaking, and I remember at that training, one of the trainings, there was breakout sessions. And her room was packed full. You couldn't even get in. I was like, oh, I can't hear Cecilia. I'm too late. I've been sick in the parking lot, and so I had to go to a different training. And the other training I went to was about the family and your business. And I was there with my husband. And he, after the training was over, he went up to the speaker and he said, to this national vice president, he said, so what do you do when your spouse cries a lot over her business and she doesn't have people return phone calls and she doesn't have any business builders and her presentations cancel? And okay, now I'm standing right there while he's asking her these questions. And she says to him, she says, well, it sounds like she might not be cut out for Arbonne. And I was like, oh, I'm standing right here. I'm pregnant, I'm sick, I have no money, I'm here at GTC, and I was so mad. And I just felt defeated, and I was like, oh. And I was wearing my handy Stacy Thorn name badge that said Stacy Thorn, Executive District Manager for the 4th year in a row. And I looked at that name badge, and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, it may say Executive District Manager, but I tell you what, inside of here is National Vice President, and one day you're going to know my name. Okay, that's what I thought. And I was mad. I was mad at that MVP. I was mad at my husband. I was just mad. And that GTC was the GTC that Dana Collins spoke. Dana Collins is now a top 10 income earner, but at the time, she had been an area manager for a long time and been stuck. And she figured out the math. If you do 6 presentations a month, average presentation at least 400 average, some of them are 0, but some of them are more. Average presentation 400 in volume, do that 6 times, add your own order in there, boom, you're a district manager maintenance right there. So the magic number 2,500. And that's still the magic number, you guys. It's awesome. If you can do 2,500 you and new every month, and really, I don't even call them parties, I call them launches. A party is just a launch in disguise. Sometimes that hostess doesn't know that she's going to do the business just yet, but you go to serve her and help her and make a difference with her friends, and then you say, oh, by the way, look at this business. You could be making this much money tonight, and you could be signing up so-and-so and so-and-so, and I think so-and-so's interested in the business. You might want to talk to her. So I consider a party or a group presentation just a business launch in disguise. So anyways, I listened to Dana Collins, and I came home and I thought, okay, here I am. I was 3 months pregnant at the time. I thought, I have to make this work. We had no money. We had combined income, $36,000 a year. We had $30,000 in credit card debt. I was sick to my stomach every night. How am I going to get this weight off of me? How am I going to be able to stay home with this amazing baby that I'm going to have? How am I going to live my dream? How am I going to make this Arbonne thing work? I've been in it for 4.5 years and I've stunk on it the whole time. I'm done stinking in Arbonne. I'm ready to do great. And that's what I did. I changed my mind. And you guys, you've heard Chad probably today already, and you've heard him talking about self-talk. And I want to tell you how much power you have in your self-talk. If you don't like your life, then change your self-talk to what you know you can do and can be, and become that. It's amazing how it works. So you can just program yourself. You just have to be self-aware. You know, one of my favorite books says, take every thought captive. There's a reason for that. And so I knew that there was a greatness inside of me. I knew that there was more in me than I had become. One of my favorite quotes that me and my girlfriend, I think we made it up together. I mean, I'm sure someone said it before, but we would always say, you're destined for greatness. You're destined for greatness. And I believed that. And so when I came home from GTC, I changed my thinking and I decided. And I said, I will execute 6 group presentations a month or I will die. And that was it. There's no other options. I mean, it was like, I have to have this happen. I didn't have 6 friends to host a presentation, y'all. I had to go make some new friends because everybody knew I did Arbonne and everybody knew I wasn't very good at it. And so I went and made 3 new contacts. And from those new contacts, one of them became an area manager for years. She still uses the product. She's not doing the business anymore. One of them had a no-show presentation. I don't remember her name, but I remember she was a grown lady, and she cried because none of her friends came to her presentation. But I didn't know how to host this coach back then. We didn't have that. And so I was like, oh, and she wouldn't reschedule with me. And then the other one I launched was named Ann Forrester. And if you know Ann Forrester, she's now an executive national vice president. So, and then I kept talking to people from there, and I kept doing one-on-ones and finding people to launch, and boom, it began to start happening. I did 6 presentations in March, 8 presentations in April, 8 presentations in May, 10 presentations in June. Once you start getting the thing going, okay, yeah, you can do this. Oh yeah, watch me. I'm cooking with gas now. Then comes July. Y'all, here I was, big, pregnant, swollen, disgusting. But I didn't care. I had to get this business going because I was going to have this baby. He was due August 30th. So July comes. I do 13 presentations in July. I had 2 people in district qualification under a wholesale buyer. That wholesale buyer is now a regional vice president. But I call her up and I said, hey, listen, you gave me 2 referrals and they're both going district. If you put in your $1,000 order this month, you could do first step for area and go district in 1 month. You want to do it? She said yes. So here we go. Here we go. We're cooking with gas. Here we go. And by the end of August, here comes August. I'm going to mention this one. I only could do 4 presentations in August. Y'all, my nose was so swollen, it covered up the majority of my face. I was like, you know those dead animals on the side of the road in the summertime that are like all, that was me. Okay, so here I was, really swollen, talking about how healthy and how good Arbonne makes you, but I didn't care. I did first step for region right before I had Silas. He was due August 30th. We hit first step region, and I was like, oh my word, this is happening. Gets me excited still. And so he was actually born 2 weeks late. He was born September 11th of 2002. In the smack dab middle of region qualification. You guys, if you tell yourself you can't, you're right. But if you tell yourself you can, you're right too. And I'm going to tell you, if I can have a baby in the middle of region qualification, any one of y'all can do this business and make it all the way to the top. I finished region in October. I remember being on the phone with people. Every private part I had hurt. I had this beautiful new baby. I had this region I was birthing at the same time. And it was our dreams. It was everything. My hopes, my dreams. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom since I was a little girl. I wanted to raise my own kids and I wanted to be involved in their life. And this was the only way that I had to make that happen. And that's what happened. I went region. And I got to be there with Silas, and when I got my car, I remember bringing him home, and when I got my Mercedes, and him riding in the back seat of it, and in his little car seat, and I was so excited. And the journey kept going, you guys. I realized if I just stay in momentum and stay in activity, it's going to keep building. 11 months later, I went nation. Y'all, that wasn't even on my radar, in the beginning. I was just hoping to be an area manager someday. And so I tell you that because I want you to have hope. And I want you to know, no matter what it looks like, Stay the course. Write down your vision. I have my goals. Oh gosh, I had my goal written down so many times. And Shad tells you, write down your goal and then write down the date you want the goal by. That way, if the date changes, it doesn't mean you have to change your goal, just change the date. I changed that date so many times, but I've finally reached it. And it was so worth it. So now it's been a journey since. In 2006, I bought my Arbonne dream home. Everybody said, get a home, show everybody that this works, tell them, I told you so. I'm going to argue with that. Before you buy your Arbonne dream home, because I'm telling you, there are people in this room that are watching this video right now. They're going to go all the way to the top in Arbonne, and you're going to make millions of dollars with this company. Are you one of them? You decide. But when you do, before you go out there and have to prove to people, stop it. No, you follow your convictions. I had a conviction on what I should have done for my home, but instead I chose something else to prove it to people. The proof is in who you are. That's what makes Arbonne amazing. It isn't the stuff we have. My proudest moment is not the moment when I bought $1 million home. Geez, that was probably one of the stupidest moments. My proudest moment was when I was able to write a huge check to a company that, or a nonprofit, I should say, organization that builds homes for children who have been rescued out of child sex trafficking. That's my proudest moment. So get your priorities straight and know why you're doing this. Stuff doesn't matter. I mean, have a nice home. Yes, have a nice home. Have your Coach purses. Have your cool shoes. Have your Louis Vuitton if you need it. But get your focus on what really matters, and it's people. And one of my favorite books that I listen to a lot because it's stuck on my phone. I can't figure out how to turn it off, and it's one of those books on your phone. I don't know. And it's called Unleashing the Soul of Money. And it's by Lynn Twist. And in the book, she talks about people and how valuable people are, and focusing not on how much money somebody makes or how little the person makes, but rather the person and their integrity and their gifts and their talents, and making sure that, they're given opportunities too. And so that's my passion now. And that's the example I want to leave for my children, because stuff doesn't fill you up. I remember after I was a nation for a few months and the checks were so big. I mean, they still are so big. I have to pinch myself every month when I get paid. But they were so big, and I was like, you know what? All this stuff in this house, that isn't doing it for me. I'm like, why do I keep doing Arbonne? I've surpassed all my goals. I mean, like, way surpassed my goals. And I thought, why do I do this? And it was because the people, I feel like I have a magic wand where I can touch people's lives. All they have to do is say yes and follow the system, and it can totally transform their life. It can transform their self-esteem, their confidence. It can make them better. It can make them stronger. It can make them realize what really matters in life. It can help them become givers. I can't remember who it was. One time I heard someone say, there's not enough good people with money. And I know Petter used to say, when you give women money, they're going to change the world, because we're nurturers. We see the need and we want to make a difference. And so I love Cecilia's goal. Cecilia stole her goal for our company to be the #1 network marketing company that gives back. Heck yeah. Heck yeah, let BS. Because the fulfillment that comes from investing in others and giving to others, it's where your heart is so full it wants to burst. And I wake up every morning with my heart so full. And I've just got so much gratitude and so much abundance and so much peace and fulfillment. And that's because of the choices I've made the past 16 years. That's because of the people that I've been around the past 16 years. That's because of facing my fears all this time. And you guys, I still have fears. Make sure I'm good on my time. I still have fears. I still have challenges that arise, and I still have to exchange my stories in my mind, and I still have to say, nope, this thought doesn't serve me, this thought does. I'm going to tell you this one. I'm going to be really transparent with you. When I was a little girl, I had a story that I was stupid. I had a teacher who wrote a note to my parents and said that I daydreamed too much. Well, I'm all for daydreaming. The more you can dream it, you can achieve it, right? And so she sent that home to my parents, and I got in trouble. And I created a story from that because she called me Stacy in the note. And I created a story from that I was stupid. I mean, I was probably 9 or 10 when that happened. And so my whole adult life, I've had this story that I was stupid. And when I started coming to the Men Are Fish exchange events 3 years ago, I started exchanging that and saying, I'm not stupid. I'm brilliant. I'm smart. I am full of knowledge. I am street smart. I just started changing my stories. And it's really funny because sometimes now, like Shad Helmstedter's my friend. Like I have his phone number on my phone. I could call him right now. I love Shad Helmstetter. And he's really smart. Like he knows Oprah. He's brilliant. He's written all these best-selling books and he's a doctor and he's my friend. And so I started like confirming my story, like Shad Helmstetter is my friend. I'm really smart. He isn't friends with stupid people. And then I know that Shad loves cheese and crackers. This is so silly. But sometimes I'll have cheese and crackers in honor of Shad Helmstetter. They're gluten-free crackers, yes. But it's in honor of Shad. I'm like, yep, he's my friend. And when I'm eating them, I'm thinking, I'm so smart. And it's so silly. But you know what we think about, we bring about. I'm going to tell you something. I am smart. I made the decision to join Arbonne. I stayed with it for 16 years. And I'm not quitting. No matter where the peaks and the valleys go. You guys, this business is cyclical, meaning it goes in cycles. You'll have a cycle. It's like when the tide comes in and you have so many people signing up. You're like, wait a minute, I'm out of balance. I have to see my family, but everybody wants to sign up. Hang on, just do it the best you can and stay in balance the best you can. Then there's going to be times when the tide goes out and you're like, I haven't signed anybody up in 2 months. Oh my gosh, am I out of business? Does Arbonne still work? Yes, it does. You have to go out there and you have to paddle out a little bit. You have to drum up some business yourself. But I'm going to tell you this, it works. Stay the course. Do not look in the natural. Look with your eyes of faith. See things how you know they will be, not how they are sometimes. And then when they're great, stay in complete gratitude and cherish it. Never take it for granted. I've seen people that got very successful in Arbonne making thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month. They made up a story that wasn't healthy. And they got greedy or they got insecure. I don't know what their story was. But they would make really foolish decisions, even though they had more than enough, because they weren't solid in their foundation and in their core beliefs. And so I want you to, the time it takes you to build, whether it takes you a year to go region, or 5 years to go region, or 10 years to go region, or nation, whatever it is, enjoy that time and build a solid foundation. Because you're building a skyscraper. And when you build that skyscraper, it's going to go way, way tall. And if you don't have a good foundation, it's going to fall over. But if you have a good foundation, it's going to go and it's going to be sturdy and strong. So before I close, I want to wrap up a couple things and tell you some random facts that you might think are kind of funny. My first 2 override checks from Arbonne were both $0. Okay, first 2 months. Well, 3 months because so first 3 months I made $0. The first person I sponsored in Arbonne was my little sister, and I gave her my credit card so she could sign up with a decent size order. She quit 6 months later, okay, and didn't do the business for 7 years. Now she's in Arbonne. My fourth override check, my 4th month in, my override check was $42.58. The next one was $102.94. Then the next check, when I was on track for area, was $1,400, okay? And then the check after that was $116. Manageritis, don't catch it. And this was just a reflection of my activity. After being in the business for 1 year, my monthly check was $384. Big bucks, 1 year. My second year, my paycheck was for 1 month was $302.48. My third year, on my anniversary month, my check was $196.30. Y'all, that's bad. 3 years in Arbonne, 3 years. My monthly check, my anniversary month, was $196.30. I watched my sideline here in Tulsa. Her name's Carol Eggleston. I watched her quit her job and replace her income as an area manager. I remember talking to people who knew her, and I thought, oh my gosh, everybody in Tulsa's already signed up on Carol's team. There's nobody good left. That was scarcity thinking. And there were days that I wanted to quit, but there was something inside of me that said, what if it works? What if you don't quit? And what if it works? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I didn't quit. Sometimes I would see a Mercedes-Benz on the street, or sometimes, I see a commercial for, another skincare company. Stuff that just happens in life that would trigger me. I'm like, no, I have to keep talking about Arbonne. I have to get this message out. But there was a few things that I did right during that time. I took away the option to quit. I went to the monthly meeting. I even spoke at it. I went to every global training conference. And even though I didn't have a lot of money I was making from Arbonne, every little bit I was thankful for. I didn't have enough money for my month. I didn't have enough money for groceries many times. But because of Arbonne, we made it. My 4th year in Arbonne, on the anniversary month, my check was $417.91. People made fun of me. People said, you're going to stay with this? You've been in for how long? And what's your check? Are you crazy? Everybody, even the people in my own home, questioned me. Is this going to work? But I knew in my heart that someday it was going to work. That 4th year, my anniversary month, was when 9/11 happened. And as I watched that day in disbelief and horror, I knew that I had to come alive. I knew that if the world ended tomorrow, I hadn't even lived yet. And so I thought, that's it. That was when I went to GTC. Soon after that, that was when I got pregnant with my first son. The 5th year, you guys, the 5th year in Arbonne, I was in region qualification on my anniversary month. My paycheck was $3,257. That was huge, you guys. I never had checks that had a comma in them. I stayed the course. I paid my dues. I grew personally. I stayed the course. I did not quit, and I never took my eye off the prize. I was determined, passionate, convicted, focused. I had things in place so I wouldn't break my focus, and I was driven. And I want to tell you this. Now, you go fast forward, 6-figure income for all these years. I don't remember the no-shows. I don't even remember the hostess's name who had the no-shows of that one first launch presentation. I can see her face, but I can't remember her name, and that's okay. None of that matters. All the hard stuff just made me greater, and I can handle so much hard stuff now, you wouldn't believe it. Arbonne has made me a better person. When things happen in my life, I respond. I don't react. I've learned to get outside of drama. I've learned to put boundaries up. I've learned to value myself. I've learned that if people don't treat me how I should be treated, then I can have a boundary. Who ever thought of that? I also learned how to give back. I learned how to look at people and see through their fear and insecurity and see the greatness that lies in them, and I can believe in them. I love to believe in people. I love to see their greatness. And sometimes I believe, too much and too long, and I'm like, oh, that business builder quit, but she could have been so great, and I have to just keep going, But I see the greatness in people, and I love to believe in them, and I love to watch them grow. And one of my favorite things about Arbonne is watching a new consultant come in, scared and timid and fearful, and then grow into this amazing person who is influencing the world and making a difference, and the confidence and the glow and just the conviction in their voices. It's amazing. So all that being said, I want you guys to know this business is phenomenal. It is worth it. I promise you, if you could fast forward yourself 16 years into your business, if you don't quit, you'll be like me. You'll be thanking God every day that you didn't quit. You'll be so grateful for the amazing people that you have on your team and the sidelines. You guys, we have amazing sidelines and uplines in Arbonne. We're a big family. I don't look at Arbonne people and be like, oh, well, she's not on my team. I'm not going to help her. I help every team. I don't care whose team it is. I sow a seed, because somehow, someway, when you sow a seed, whether it be you do a presentation and nobody buys anything, or you help someone else's business and you're like, I ain't gonna get paid on that. Doesn't matter. You sowed the seed. And one of my favorite books says do everything unto the Lord. He saw you do that work. He saw you sow those seeds. Next thing you know, somebody out of the blue calls me and says, hey, I want to sign up. And they're legit, Or I'll have someone text me and say, hey, we're at so-and-so's meeting and we have 2 rows of guests. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a sideline doing the meeting and my team is there. It all comes, what goes around comes around. So sow some good seed. I want you to know you're not in this business by accident. You're here by divine appointment. You are meant to be here at this time, in this place. Take your business seriously. Take yourself seriously. See the greatness that's in you. Don't talk ugly to yourself. And one of my favorite things I've heard said is, if your friend talked to you the way that you talk to yourself, would they still be your friend? So be your own best friend. Be true to yourself. Follow your heart. Have fun in this business, and never quit. I love you, and I hope to see you guys soon. Take care.